Dear God, we know that you are our good shepherd. We will desire nothing if you are our first desire, dear God. And even though we go through difficult times, as your word says, the valley of the shadow of death, we will not fear evil, because you will do what you say you will do. Dear God, we come to you knowing that we often fall short of what you have called us to be and what you have called us to do. But we come ready to hear a word from you. We come eager to once again be molded and to be shaped and be formed by you. We present ourselves to you today, dear God, as clay in the hands of the potter. Dear God, we believe that your word is true. We believe that you have a plan for our lives. We believe that you have a plan for our church. And it is not a plan to be timid or fearful. But your plan is one that is bold and courageous and victorious. Dear God, I pray that you would help us to see that. I pray that you would help us to live into that, dear God. As Pastor Doug comes to us and shares your word, I pray that you would anoint his words. May they speak to our hearts through the power of your Holy Spirit. We pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen. You can be seated. Children are dismissed at this time to go with Pastor Hammer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you today. Been a busy week where everybody has it. Well, we had grandson number 7. And grandchild number 8. So we're still 1 girl, 7 boys. A little bit short of being able to field a baseball team at this point. Just 1 short. But also, it's interesting to see how the siblings accept a new brother. Now, as you can see, there are 3 boys now, along with Quincy. That's her husband there, to your immediate right. But I thought I'd show you this picture this morning as well. You see the youngest there in the orange shirt, he's diving right in. Oh yeah, feel that skin. The older in the back is going, my daughter Ashley said, he was saying, I didn't know he was going to be so little and wrinkled. So he did not even touch him that night. He waited until the next day, and I guess they've become friends. On Facebook, he didn't say a whole lot, but we are very happy mother as well. And the baby is well also. Well, would you stand with me and read the scripture out of John 6, if you want to pull out your own Bible, or one of the pew rackets. We're starting in chapter 6 is a very long chapter, and we're starting at verse, 60, but I threw in a couple of verses, previous verses, just to set it up. This is Jesus preaching, and if you can imagine taking this at face value, which they had to do, they didn't know what he was talking about other than what they knew of the natural world. So let's read this together if we would. My body is real food. My blood is real drink. Anyone who eats my body and drinks my blood remains in me. Now, you have to admit, that would throw you just a little bit, wouldn't it? I'm talking about carnivorous, being carnivorous and eating his body and drinking his blood. He has, and I remain in them. Jesus' disciples heard this. Many of them said, this is the hard teaching. Who can accept him? Well, Jesus was aware that the disciples were complaining about this teaching. So he said to them, does this upset you? Then what if you see the Son of Man go up to where he was before? The Holy Spirit gives life. The body means nothing at all. The words I have spoken to you are full of the Spirit. They give life, in that verse 64. But there are some of you who do not believe. Jesus had known from the beginning which of them did not believe, and he had known who was going to hand him over to the enemies. So he continued speaking. He said, this is why I told you that no one will come to me unless the Father helps them. From this time on, many of his disciples turned back. They no longer followed him. You don't want to leave also, do you? Jesus asked the 12 disciples. Simon Peter answered, Lord, who can we go to? You have the words of life. We have come to believe and to know that you are the Holy One of God. This is the word of the Lord for us today. Thank you. You may be seated. Have you ever heard of Australian football? Right, somebody yelled rugby, I think. It's known as, actually, as rugby here. We call it rugby. They call it Australian football. And it is actually, and has much more popularity on television there than any of their other sports. Have you ever heard of the Sydney Swans of the Australian football? Wouldn't it be interesting? Go Swans! Go Swans! That's like you're ice skating or something. But it's true. There's a team called the Sydney Swans, and they played for a number of years to almost empty stadium. They weren't winning. There were, so people just weren't attending. Suddenly they got a new coach and a few new players, and they started winning, and then what happened? People started attending, and the more they won, the more people attended. It got so you could hardly buy a ticket to see the Sydney Swans. It's just kind of funny that, these guys with teeth knocked out and all that kind of stuff are called the Swans. But it turned around until they were on TV. The stadium was filled. One Saturday afternoon, they were playing, and they were on TV, and the camera was spanning the crowd, how they do. And suddenly they came to a fellow holding up this, what was obviously a homemade sign. I was here when nobody else was. It kind of reminds me of that song by Barbara Mandrell. I was country when country wasn't cool. Country's much cooler than it used to be. Out on Davis Creek when I was a kid. But country is cool. In fact, country's become real dignified. But anyway, I love the story of the man who was so proud that he was there when no one else was. It reflects that age-old idea of fair weather fans. People run to whatever is winning or whatever is popular. But there was the one fan that wanted everybody else to know he was there when nobody. Jesus knew what it was to deal with fair weather fans, didn't he? We just read about it. As he began to share the difficult details like eating my body, drinking my flesh, I'm going to go where I've come from, people start getting a little uneasy with that. I'm told in the early days of the Church of the Nazarene, where they were preaching free love, a lot of people didn't, were suspect, we kind of warned that off. But Jesus saw people becoming disenchanted. Just a short time before he's teaching in these verses here, they had been wanting to crown him king, you remember? They wanted to push him into the political arena. They wanted him to establish his kingdom in this world. But they were not in it. for the long haul? No. They want it to happen now, and just like they prescribed it. So one by one, they sensed it was not going to give them what they wanted. So even some of his close followers were losing enthusiasm. This was kind of alarming. That's when Jesus, it says in the verse, it says, from this time on, many of his disciples turned back. They no longer followed him. So Jesus asked the 12, the original 12, you don't want to leave also, do you? Jesus was up to asking the tough questions. And so he asked that. And who would speak up? It's Simon Peter. Don't you just love Simon Peter? Simon answered, Lord, who can we go to? You have the words of eternal life. We have come to believe and to know that you are the Holy One of God. Peter spoke the words for all of them. Look at that phrase that says, Lord, who can we go to? There's nobody else. Who can we go to? Simon Peter, of course, was impulsive. He was excitable. Speaking before his mind was fully in gear. Some of us have been guilty of that before, you know. But Simon was in it for the long haul, wasn't he? His commitment was no momentary or fleeting experience. Good only to think of the wrong way. Certainly, Peter got discouraged. Sure he did. After the crucifixion, he was ready to go back to his fishing nets, and he did. We can understand that. He felt terribly let down. Why? He thought what Jesus was working on was truly for him to stay around all his life and to lead them into a great new era of their lives. Peter had invested all his dreams in this man, Jesus. Now Christ lay in a borrowed tomb. Still, while he showed some weakness, his commitment never failed. You remember Jesus came out to the beach. And as soon as he saw it was Jesus, he jumped in the water. What about Peter in the water? He just wasn't any problem for him. You know, the reaction of the crowd to some of Jesus' harder teaching reminds me of years ago when late night television was just kind of getting into this late night television show. You have to be really old to remember Jack Paar. Really old. I'm sorry if you do remember. You've got a really good memory. But Albert Schweitzer had become quite a popular figure. Albert Schweitzer had gone to Africa in I believe the 20s perhaps, maybe even a year or two before that. And he had established a clinic in the country of Gabon, G-A-B-O-N, the Gabon Republic. I've spent some time there. In fact, one time I was asked, I had to go find that clinic that he started. And I looked, and it was going to be a little bit of a rough trip, so, you know, I went in for the long haul, so I didn't go. But he set up this clinic in Lambaréné, Gabon. And Jack Paar actually took a film crew and went over and interviewed Albert Schweitzer. And the thing that stuck with this when I was reading it was, he told his television audience, I'd like to be an Albert Schweitzer if I could commute. We'd all like to be famous, wouldn't we? If we just could commute, you know. Be home during the week, there a little bit on the weekend maybe. And a lot of people would like to do good things in hard places, but are we really ready to sacrifice? You know, it's a common sentiment among All who start out with good intentions. Everybody who comes to Christ, of course, starts out with good intentions. Many of you, how many of you ever worked in a Sunday school class at any age? Let me see. Children, adults, teenagers. Yeah, a majority, definitely. Well, in the church, it's interesting because we've now moved into an era of the church. There was a time when Sunday school was the entryway into the church for most people. In fact, it was generally larger in attendance than any other part of the church. But we've seen children come to Sunday school for years. Mom and Dad brought them. But then something happened about that transition period into the youth group. They began to be more scarce. Or we've seen teenagers who have been part of the youth group, but as they graduate out, they disappear as well. We've seen people who bring children to Sunday school and church, and some attend, but after their kids are grown, they tend to drift away as well. I've seen people who've spent 15, 20 years in a church, have a fuss with somebody, another member, and they just leave. Or they don't like the pastor, and they just leave, never to be seen in church again. But the thing is, there are some, many are here this morning, who are a treasure, a blessing, great encouragement. It's you who are in it for the long haul. You see, Jesus experienced that. You have a very special kind of faith that will be rewarded greatly. In fact, if I read the scripture correctly, it's the only kind of faith that lasts. You see, and this may be just informing the young people, but read this with me, would you? Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Those are different races, aren't they? See that passage in the scripture? Let us run with perseverance, the writer of Hebrews says. You know, the current men's world record for the 100-yard dash is 9.58 seconds. Usain Bolt. He doesn't need perseverance. He just needs a lot of energy. Strong muscles. That's 10 seconds. I can run for 10 seconds. I can't run like Usain Bolt can. You get a dog after me, I can get close. But 10 seconds, he doesn't need perseverance. But what about someone who runs a marathon? Now, a marathon is 26.2 miles. I can't run for 26.2 miles. I can drive it. You have to pull over to Sonic and get a drink, but I can drive 26 miles. Now, somebody said, anybody here ever run a marathon? Let me see. Oh, man. I'm dropping my hand because I haven't either. But I appreciate Christopher brought me one of those stickers for my window, car window. You know, people drive around 26.2 over the window. That's what they're talking about. Or a marathon. Or 13.1, that's half a marathon. He brought me a little sticker that said 0/0. Lets people know that I know what a marathon is, but I'm not going to run. But you see, somebody who runs a marathon has got to have perseverance. You've got to have perseverance to make it. You know, even though Usain Bolt's time is so close, there's actually a man who's Kenyan man who ran the marathon in something like 2 hours or something. I can't imagine. But the average person who runs in these races runs about a 4 hour. So you run for 4 hours? And so they have to have perseverance. They have to train, and they have to be ready to go. You know, just because we're Christians does not mean that God's going to smooth out all the bumps. Amen? You ever hit any bumps in your Christian life? Your life should. He doesn't smooth out all the bumps. Why? We can get cancer. We can have heart attacks. We can have strokes. We can have diabetes. Just like everybody else in our population. We have to watch family members suffer. We have to sometimes watch family members die. We lose our jobs. We grieve the loss of our loved ones. People we love betray us. Isn't this a cheerful sermon so far? It's the truth, though, isn't it? At such times, we need faith for the long haul. Faith for the long haul. Life is not easy. Amen? We must remember that life is not a sprint, but a marathon, and that victory comes to those who are willing to hang in there when the going gets tough. You see, the greatest mystery in life, or the secret is, it's not how we begin, but how we finish. Paul writes to Timothy, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. You see, finishing is actually as important, if not more important, than starting. Anybody can start. I'm a good starter. Yeah. Start a lot of things. I can't tell you how many books I've started I've never finished. You see, we have talent, we have enthusiasm, we have a burst of promise, but sustaining that good beginning, that is the problem. That's true in our commitment to Christ. It's true in our commitment to our spouse, to our assignment in life, and a bunch of other endeavors. And so how are we finishing? As far as life, we're not finished yet, because obviously we got ourselves in here today, and hopefully we'll get ourselves out. But how are we at finishing? Some of you may have read some stuff by Stuart Briscoe, a pastor and author. He writes about the power of endurance. He says that when his children were young, he taught them to enjoy running. To enjoy running. He said that was great, and then they taught him how not to enjoy running. As they got older, began to wake him up in the darkness of the morning hours on a brisk morning when there's frost everywhere, and they wanted him to go running with them. He said for a while he could still keep pace ahead of them, and that was not so bad. But then his daughter said, Dad, there's a 10,000-meter race in a couple of weeks on a Saturday. Let's run it together. Doesn't that sound great? 10,000 meters. That's 6.2 miles. Well, he couldn't really turn her down. He's the one that had gotten her interested in this. So his daughter signed him up for this 10-mile race. He said they got down there that morning and they're loosening up, doing all those things that they do. And he looked over and said, people were everywhere. There were nearly 25,000 people out to run that morning. And there was a great atmosphere of hilarity, and people were joking and laughing and having a good time. And he said, being in Milwaukee, of course, one guy was dressed up as a beer bottle. Looked over, another guy was dressed up like a banana. Another guy was dressed up like grapes. And so he kind of looked around, and he was pretty uneasy about the race, so he didn't worry about them. But the gun went off, and everybody was laughing and waving. The banana was shaking hands along the first few yards, and then he said it got rather interesting. He said after a quarter mile, the banana and the beer bottle were hanging over a garden fence, not looking well at all. After about a mile, there was no more chattering or laughing in those who were running. After the second mile, the only sound was labored breathing. And he said after the fourth mile, it was so quiet you could even hear the birds singing. And he said when they got to the end of the 6.2 miles, people were just kind of dribbling in, kind of by themselves. Somebody would come every little bit, and they would end up, many of them, of course, throwing up and so forth. The moral of the story, he says, is this. You get all kinds of people goofing off at the start, but that doesn't count. To finish does count, and disciples of Jesus Christ keep on going. Amen? That's what Jesus is talking about. He said, you're not going to leave me too, are you? And except for Peter's little fiasco denying him, later on, Peter was in it for the long haul. And when you transpose that on the background of, at the end of their lives, all but John, who was on the Isle of Patmos, all of them except him died being put to death. And Peter, though tradition says, they had the cross out there, and Peter said, no, don't hang me on the cross like this. I'm not worthy of hanging on the cross like Christ, my Lord. Hang me upside down. And so they did. Peter, well, he stumbled and fell and got back up. He was still in it for the long haul. Yes, when the enthusiasm fades, when the passion cools, when the numbers drop off, are we able to maintain our intensity? When things aren't working the way we thought they'd work, do we still have the faith that He knows what's going on? Well, you see, read this, please. Finishing is what faith is all about. And this passage that we've already read, Lord, who can we go to? You have the words of eternal life. We have come to believe and to know that you are the Holy One of God. Peter reaffirms his faith and his belief in Jesus. Like I said, some of you have been disciples of Jesus Christ all your lives. My earliest memories, I mean really, always involved church. Now we left my brother to sleep on the church pew, locked up, turned out the lights. He's a good sleeper. You know, church picnics. Oh, I love church picnics. I love church picnics. Playing softball, church team. Love those jerseys, you know. My memories of a lifetime involve the Church of Jesus Christ. Many of you, that's how it is for you. You've seen pastors come and go. I think I'm number 17, I don't know. 16 or 17. You've watched the church grow with all the excitement that goes with us. You watched this building be built. Some of you helped put these pews in. And sadly, you've watched it decline. But through good times and bad times, you've been here. God notices that. Because you're in it for the long haul. That's why you're hanging in there now. Some are perhaps hoping to have a fresh experience of God's grace. So you're just hanging in there, waiting for God to move on you. I've shared that I have many aunts and uncles. dad had 10 brothers and sisters. My mother had 4 sisters. And they all had kids. Got so finally my grandmother wouldn't come to the reunion anymore. It was too loud and too rowdy. And it started with her. My Uncle Vernon married my Aunt Jean. And as early as I remember, he was a pharmacist. I loved going to his pharmacy. Of course, we didn't use the word pharmacy, we called it drugstore. Still, he had one of those counters, you know, with those cool put on the other side. I loved those things. I loved going to his drugstore. He married my Aunt Jean, who was a Christian. I never heard Vernon in those early years really talk about God. He would show up at church every now and then, a little more than the CEOs, you know, church and Easter onlys. But he was there. His wife Jean sang in the choir, and so he would come when they did a cantata or they had a special. And I worked for Vernon sometimes in the summer, that kind of thing, out in the fields. He had some property, riding a tractor. And I don't remember Vernon in those early days without that stogie, you know, little short stubby cigar. And so one time my dad bought Vernon's car, and everybody thought we smoked cigars. I don't know why. His car always smelled like cigars. He eventually got bored with being a pharmacist and left and started investing in real estate. Things went really well. He had speculated, and in about 1982, the bottom dropped out. He lost everything. Had to go back to being a pharmacist. But he had filed bankruptcy. It was about that time that Vernon started showing up all the time at church. Now, like I said, that was about 1982, 1983. Pam and I were visiting with Jean and Vernon in their condo in Florida last summer, just for a few hours. Went by to see them. Love my aunts and uncles. And there he is. Vernon's almost 80 years old now. But he came to know the Lord shortly after his fortune disappeared. He went back to what he'd been originally doing. In fact, Vernon started singing in the choir, and that was a surprise for me. He wasn't allowed to have a stogie in the choir. He sang in the choir. He was always there after that. And here he is, nearly 80. They are very faithful in the little Nazarene church there. And he is still a pharmacist now for a pet organization that he verifies. You see, for Vernon, he is finishing well. Wow. He's finishing well. Things came along his path in life, and instead of making him bitter, he got better. He got better. And so it is. I love what Joseph in the Old Testament, remember Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. He's lucky they didn't kill him the way he was taunting the favor of their father. Sold into slavery and all that happened after that. And through all of that, though, he matured and was faithful to God. He was, they think, about 17 years old when he was sold into slavery. And so for the next number of years, probably about 23 years, he was in Egypt. And God brought him to that place where his brothers were sent to get food from Egypt. And they find that the man who was distributing the food was in charge of giving food out during this terrible famine. Now, they didn't know at first. But when he revealed that I am your brother Joseph, they shrunk back in horror that for now he could get even with them. But this verse of Scripture, you know, Joseph had power, wealth. He could have done anything to them. But here's what he said to them. Don't you see? You planned evil against me. In other words, you sold me to those slave traders. They tied me up and put me on a camel and took me to Egypt. But he said, you planned evil against me, but here's where his faith comes as he is finishing well, comes out again. God used those same plans for my what? Good. And that's a powerful verse. You know, there's that song. There's that song, what is it, that chorus? Somebody testify, you know. Well, Joseph is giving his testimony. Well, it's great to have him celebrate life. Wow. I was a slave. But here he is. Guys, I am so happy to see you all. You all sold me into slavery. You know what that was like? But I'm going to tell you, God had a plan, he says. And man, is God's plan good? Well, faith is hanging in there when you don't want to. When it does not seem like the thing's going to work out for you. Your faith in what you were reaching for has disappeared. Well, where are you now? You're here. So you've obviously not given up all hope. God has a plan. And that plan is not to smooth out all the rough places. It is to bring you through. And the more rough places you go through, you come out, oh, man, I made it through that. It's easy to go through the next one because God is building our faith in Him. Nearly everyone in here today has something going on. If you're not in a rough place, it probably means you just came out of one, or you're getting ready to go into one. But God's vision sees it all. He sees it all. I would invite you to stand with me if you would. Let's pray this prayer together. Dear Father, I thank you that when the first couple took their eyes off you, stopped listening only to you and gave in to temptation, that you knew life from then on would not be easy. You knew we as their descendants would need your help and your presence to make it through this life. This marathon of a life, and to finish well. We so want to be faithful to you, to live life for what is out ahead. We turn our lives once more, again, over to you. I ask you for your Holy Spirit to cleanse me, to fill me, to live in me, empowering me for what lies ahead, that I might finish. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Lord, you asked the question of the 12. So will you all leave me too? Peter spoke out, really not knowing what was ahead, but he made a statement that would truly cover the rest of his life. Now, where would we go? Where else can we go that we can find help and hope? So it is for us, Lord. Peter's a great example for us. He stumbled and fell, disappointed himself in himself. But Lord, when you spoke to him, he was ready. So today, Lord, whatever it is, wherever we are in life, if we're needing a fresh touch, we ask for that fresh touch from you now. And in asking, we open ourselves to that. Whatever you will say to us today, Lord, whatever you want to work inside of us, we invite you to. Turn ourselves over